We're going to be creating a really simple still life with 2 apples, and we're coloring with oil pastels. So we start by drawing our first apple. This one is the one in front. So we're sketching very lightly with our pencil. And the next apple is behind this one. So we're using object placement and overlapping to make this other apple look like it's behind this one. So we want the bottom of this apple about right here, a little higher up. Top of it is also going to be higher than the other one. Okay, and then you see where the apple in front is covering that one up. So it's overlapping and object placement. Then we're going to draw our stems by just using a little curved line here. That's the little hole the stem comes out, and then our stems here. Okay, so we'll start coloring with just our base color. I'm going to have a red apple and a green apple. You may need to take your paper towel and clean your oil pastels off a little bit if they have other colors stuck to them. So our base color is just the main color of the apple, and we're just doing a very light coat of that color, covering the whole apple. We're going to be blending lots of other colors in, but we want to get a good base color there. And then my other apple is going to be green, so I'm just going to do a light green, light coat of green. So you always want to think about the direction the light is coming from in your still life. And in this case, our light is going to be coming from the right. So this right side will be the lightest on both of our apples, and the left side will be the darkest. So on I'm going to just do the red apple first. So on my red apple, I'm going to use some lighter colors on the right side, just in this whole area here. And I'm going to use yellow, and for the very lightest areas, I'll use white too. So I'm overlapping my red with some yellow. And you can look at, if you have apples to look at, you can really look carefully and see what other colors you see in there that are not as obvious as just the plain red. You may see some other colors in there too. So yellow, and then for the very lightest part, I'll be blending a little white. Now, for the dark values, you can use brown, you could use black, but you would have to really be careful not to use too much. Blue or purple also works. Those cool colors really work well for adding those dark values. I'm going to put a little brown in it first, but I'm going to add some blue as well. Be very careful with those dark colors not to add too much. A little bit goes a long way. Blue. Make it a little darker right around on the edge. Okay, and then when you've got all those colors added, you're going to go back over with your red. Probably don't want to go over the part where the white is, but you can go back over the rest of it and add a little more red color in there. Another place you're going to have dark values is down in that hole where the stem comes out, so I'll add that in just a minute too. dark values down in here. Blend it with my red. Okay, and then I'm going to color my stem. I've got a couple different browns I'll use. Really just one would be okay. Okay. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is blend my oil pastels, and I do this with just a little piece of paper towel, and this will help make your colors look more solid. Right now I can see lots of little spots where my paper is showing through, so I'm going to start with those lighter colors, and you definitely don't want to smear across the whole thing because that's just going to mix all your colors up, and you also don't want to use too much pressure, so just gentle pressure and little circles works best. Start with your lighter colors and work your way down to those darker colors. And kind of be extra careful around the edges. You may want to clean up the edges a little bit at the end of this. Remember not to press down too hard, because that'll just smear your pastels. Okay, so I'm going to go around the edges and just kind of try to clean them up a little bit. Okay. All right, so my green apple. I'm also going to use yellow, and I've got a yellow green I'll use as well for my green apple. So my yellow green. Again, these are the lighter colors, so they are going on the right side and also up around the top of my apple, because that's where the light would be hitting it. Okay, and I'm going to use blue to shade my darker values. And we don't see the very darkest side of this apple where it's covered up, but we do see a little bit of dark values down there, a little bit of shadows. Okay. You could add some brown. I think I'm not going to use brown this time. And then again, go back over it with your original color. And I forgot to add my white, so I'll go back and do that in just a minute. White on the very lightest. Okay. Okay, and then again, clean piece of paper towel, because you're working with a different color now, and starting again with your light colors, just using a little circle motion and not pressing down too hard. Careful around the edges. Okay. right, and then again with your stem, use a little brown there, maybe some different browns. You could even add a little tiny bit of black. Now you could, to really finish this up a little bit, add the table. If you wanted to shade the table and the wall, you could. I'm not going to do all that, but I am going to add just a little shadow over here to make it look a little more finished. So again, my light is coming from the right. That's why these are the lighter sides of my apples, and the left side is the darker side. And with this apple here, I'll actually see a little shadow, so I'm using a blue. May add a little brown. I'm going to see how this looks. I think the blue is fine on its own, but you could use brown if you wanted to. You probably wouldn't see the shadow from the apple in the back, just because the one in front would cover it up a little bit. Right. So that's just a little practice to help you with oil pastel coloring for still life objects. You may want to really go back in and clean up the edges a little more, but that's pretty much it.